Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Studio. My name is Adam, and today we're going to be looking at a very highly requested mallet series. It's the Leigh Howard Stevens series from MalletTech. Thanks so much to my studio VIPs, Artifact Percussion, Zero Gravity Percussion, Robert Utomo, Will Flinner, Mallet Lab, Bradley Crowley, and John K. Holter. And today's featured studio artist is Sean Olsen. Thank you so much for your continued support, and if you'd like to become a studio artist or studio VIP, you can go to patreon.com/M10, or you can click over here. Welcome back to the show once again. I hope you've been well. Thank you so much once again for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers on this channel. And of course, the giveaway will be in the next episode. Anyway, MalletTech is a company that hasn't really appeared much on this show so far. I've only ever reviewed one of their things, and that was the Malletech Ivan Trevino series. If you'd like to check that video out, it's very, very old. It's over here. But recently, MalletTech sent me 12 pairs of mallets to review, ranging from the Leigh Howard Stevens series to the Eric Samu series and the Concerto series. And I've always wanted to try MalletTech mallets, so thank you so much to MalletTech for sending me these mallets. But this video is not sponsored by MalletTech. They did not pay me anything to say nice things about their mallets or anything like that. This is literally just my first impressions of these mallets. So the company, MalletTech. MalletTech is one of the world's most well-known percussion brands because they make everything. They make marimbas, they make xylophones, they make vibraphones, they make mallets, and they also publish sheet music through KPP. And of course, everyone is familiar with who is behind MalletTech, who is none other than Leigh Howard Stevens, one of the world's most renowned marimbists. He created the Musa Stevens grip, and he also created the Method of Movement for Marimba method book, which is used by so many people around the world. He has many compositions and recordings. He's just basically one of the most well-known faces of marimba. And of course, other than Leigh Stevens, MalletTech has a lot of endorsed artists that are super well-known. For example, Bob Becker, Michael Burrett, Ivan Trevino, Eric Samu, Dave Samuels, Dave Friedman, Tony Micelli, oh, and of course, my friend, Sergey Golovko. So it seemed appropriate that I should start my MalletTech adventure, if you like, by looking at the Stevens mallets from MalletTech. So the Leigh Stevens mallets have been around for a long time. I'd say 30 odd years of history. They were probably one of the first marimba mallet series ever in the international market to be mass produced. And I think the brief has always remained the same. A very soft head, multi-tonal capabilities, and a very simple, easy to use weight. So in other words, basically 50-50. So these mallets are very interesting, and we're going to get into them. This is the model lineup. So starting off with what the MalletTech models mean. All MalletTech mallets have a number ranging from 0 to 50, with 0 being super soft and 50 being like extremely hard. That's a huge range, but I think basically MalletTech is trying to make all their hardnesses uniform. So for example, a 15 on one particular model will be the same as a 15 on another model. Whereas if you have a model lineup of 1 to 6, it becomes a little bit more difficult to describe very subtle differences. Maybe the 6 and 5 sound very similar, but the 2 and 1 sound very far apart. So with MalletTech's total range being 0 to 50, the Stevens series is between 1 to 27. So the 10 Stevens models are the LS1, the LS5, the LS10, the LS15, the LS15L, which is a lighter version of the LS15, the LS17Z, which is a two-tone version, the LS20, the LS25, and finally, the LS27Z. I just realized if you're American, replace Z with Z. So as you can tell from all of these numbers, they're all very close together. They're all separated by 2 to 5. Now this is the interesting part. In the Stevens mallets lineup, we have monotonal mallets, duo-tonal mallets, and multi-tonal mallets. So basically, mono-tonal mallets are mallets that only get one tone. If it's a soft mallet, it will always be soft, and if it's a hard mallet, it will always be hard. Duo-tonal mallets are basically like a hard chord that is surrounded by a lot of soft yarn. So if you play it gently, you get a soft tone, and if you play it harder, you get a hard tone. But there's only two distinct hardnesses. And finally, a multi-tonal mallet, as the name suggests, can get multiple hardnesses out of multiple dynamic levels. So it's probably the most versatile single mallet that you can get. Now, MalletTech mallets, especially the Stevens mallets, don't have distinct hardnesses. hardnesses. They don't say soft, medium, hard, etc. Instead, you're relying on the number as well as the little tasting notes that are provided with each mallet. So like, if you look at this bag here, there's a little tasting note here with a breaking point between mezzo forte and forte that is wide. It is easy to control, but not radical in its extremes. And what about the price? These mallets come in at a very respectable price of $42 US, which is literally right in the middle of the serious marimba mallet market. There is also no rattan option available on this series because, of course, Leigh Howard Stevens only uses birch, so if you want rattan, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. The next thing we're gonna look at is build quality and design. Now these mallets have a very unique design because nowadays mallet manufacturers pride themselves on having very tight, secure yarn that is extremely resistant to wear, but even MalletTech admits that they use really, really soft yarn on this. It's super, super soft, like it's almost like a pillow. So as a result, if you were to use these mallets every single day as daily drivers and you played intense works like, I don't know, marimba spiritual or something every day with these mallets, no doubt they wouldn't even make it past 3 months. But if you take care of them and you use them at a moderate level, maybe once every 2 days or maybe just a couple of times a week, they will probably last for quite a long time. The next thing you notice is that the mallet heads are actually very, very big. If you put these side by side with other mallets, you start to realize these are actually huge. Again, that's another consequence of having multi-tonal mallets that are based on loose yarn wraps. They're just going to be huge, but it's not because the core is huge, it's because there's just so many layers of this very soft yarn. Putting aside all the vulnerabilities of the yarn, it's actually a really, really nicely wrapped head. It just looks super, super nice, especially with these really loose wraps. Again, it's not going to be very enduring, but it looks great. If you go down towards the shaft, you'll notice the printed text looks really nice. It has a little bit of texture to it. There's a little bit of color that makes it pop, and it's pretty obvious to see which model is which just based on the color of the text, which is good because just looking at the heads alone doesn't really tell you much. I mean, these are 3 different models and they look basically the same. And if you go down towards the bottom of the shafts, you realize that MalletTech does a really good job of this. They have achieved smooth ends make friends. But if you look at the actual shaft, it has this very sandy finish. So if you keep rubbing your fingers along the shaft, you'll get this very fine dust that appears onto your fingers. It's good for some people who like to have that sort of coarse texture. I think some people say that it gives them better grip. For me personally, I will probably wrap my mallets in tape anyway, so it doesn't affect me. But if you don't like using mallet tape and you don't like sandy feeling shafts, then you have to be careful of these. So overall, a very well finished mallet, but of course the heads are a little bit on the vulnerable side. Next up we have ergonomics. So when it comes to mallet weight, I would say that these mallets are actually very close to 50-50. These mallets are very easy to control, especially this LS15, which I feel like is the closest thing to a traditional 50-50 mallet. Maybe the LS15L is even closer to 50-50. However, if you want something that's a bit heavy, you will not get it in this series. Like even the LS1 is not heavy. If you mix all of the hardnesses up in your hand like I've done here, then you'll realize that actually the weight is basically the same. So you're gonna have a very balanced, very even graduated setup. But yes, one side consequence of the mallets being so soft and being so pliable is that they don't bounce very much. So if you're looking for mallets that are very bouncy and very responsive off the wood, this is not that. And finally, we get to the sound test. Now, I have to say the difference between these mallets is very, very minuscule. So I encourage you to listen to the sound test as closely as possible. I will try and demonstrate it in as many ways as I can. But if you're enjoying this video so far, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Here is the sound test. Thank you so much for watching the sound test. Let me know what you thought of the mallets in the comments below. So to summarize, the mallets actually objectively sound quite good. They don't have any contact sound whatsoever because of that very loose yarn. The LS1 is like the softest mallet in my entire collection. I've never seen anything like it. It literally has zero attack sound whatsoever. So if you want a mallet that cancels out all attack, that's the one. Secondly, the mallets sound good in all ranges. Generally speaking, especially if you opt for the multi-tonal options, you can use the mallet at any part of the register and it will still sound quite clear or quite warm, depending on what you're looking for. Thirdly, these mallets are very easy to use. They kind of just sink into the bar and they sort of produce a very clean bar sound. However, they are not bouncy. So if you're looking for a bouncy mallet, this is not the one. Fourth, almost all of the mallets are capable of producing a very soft sound if you put them elevated like this, because they all have that loose yarn. So as a result, again, the versatility is very high. And finally, fifth, the value proposition is very good. The price is only $42 US a pair. Actually, you could just get 2 pairs of LS15s, which would equal about $84 US, and that would cover all the ranges of the marimba. That would cover all your hardness requirements if you like multi-tonal mallets. So maybe that's a budget way to get a nice graduated setup. Finally, some things to consider. Firstly, durability of the mallet heads is not great because the heads are so soft and so pliable. Secondly, these mallets are not heavy. So if you're looking for mallets that are weighty, that can produce like a huge sound, this is probably not the one. This is more for like gentle to sort of like mellow sort of playing with a little bit of hardness here and there. Thirdly, the shafts. Firstly, they're sandy, so if you don't use mallet tape and you don't like sandy shafts, you're kind of screwed. And also, they don't offer a rattan option. So if you're a rattan player predominantly, you can't really use these. But overall, these mallets are extremely versatile, especially the LS15. So the Leigh Howard Stevens mallets from MalletTech get the one and only studio seal of approval. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And please leave a comment down below if you'd like to see anything else on the show or any more MalletTech mallets or whatever you want. And finally, the giveaway is happening in the next episode. So make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you know when the giveaway is going to happen and you can get your entry in quickly. I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting giveaway, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching today's video and I'll see you guys next week for another episode of this studio. Good night.